We are. Wait, I think probably now streaming.
I guess. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our special Q&A session for D20 Error, where we talk about rolling dice before one of our internet goes out. Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to introduce ourselves, or I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. I'm Cate.
I'm T.
I'm Jules.
I'm Maddy.
I'm Miller. I'm the disembodied voice for today. All right. We'll just be doing a fun Q&A that of questions you all sent us. I have them here in front of me. If someone could post an online post, that would be most helpful.
do it.
Okay. All right. So let's start with just an easy question going into it for everyone. What would your character's perfect room look like? And Cate, you can choose any NPC.
Perfect room?
Yeah.
Gilf already had his perfect room and he lost it.
Shit. Sorry about that.
Lots of purple and satin and pillows. Lots of pillows.
Ren's perfect room would be a forest. Like,
Just
not a room.
Just a literal forest.
Yeah.
A blanket of leaves.
What about Val?
I think her perfect room would kind of be like how I imagine the interior of like a log cabin to be, where like you can see like the logs and like very cottage like. A lot of gingham. I don't know why, but I feel like she would like gingham everywhere. It basically looked like a little old lady's house. Very homey.
Cute. That fits.
What NPC? I don't know.
Tony.
Tony or Mimi?
Please.
I think Tony. Okay, so this is very specific, but one time I was babysitting like this super chill kid, and like their room was just completely covered in just tapestries hanging, and like it was very and like had like little baubles and trinkets and stuff because their family went traveling everywhere, and just like I guess like if you remember like in Howl's Moving Castle, like Howl's room, that's
yeah. They're like similar people. Howl and Tony.
Yeah.
I definitely Howl definitely inspired a lot of Tony.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. Next question is from Level 19991 on Tumblr. And they said, I started watching Critical Role Campaign 2, and Caleb reminds me a lot of Ren. Secretive, nervous, reserved. Was that intentional? Was Ren inspired by Caleb?
Well, I don't know about... Well, I definitely wanted to have, like, that angsty backstory. And that was definitely inspired by just Liam O'Brien in general. As for the actual character, I wasn't trying to be Caleb with Ren, but I did like the Caleb not thing, like going into the campaign with a built-in buddy. So I think me and Jess, when we were making our characters, definitely were like, hey, how can we do this but different? And so, yeah, there's a lot of like inspiration taken from O'Brien and Sam Riegel. But in terms of the actual character, I wouldn't say they're too similar.
Yeah,
they're got some secrets.
They're angsty boys.
Angsty boys. Well, different angsty boys.
Yeah. Next up, we have a question for TT, which is, what were your expectations before playing D&D, because this was your first time ever playing, and now after the few sessions, what surprised you about it?
Okay. Expectations as far as like D&D in general was like, boy, that's nerdy. So it was really fun, but which is hysterical because I basically worked at a D&D park, but you know. So I saw you guys doing it. Like I would watch like a little like bits and pieces of the sessions and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is fun. It's just kind of, you know, role playing, whatever, but like improv. And so I'm terrified of improv, and I get real worried about it. So I was like, oh, that's cool and intimidating. So coming into this, I'm really glad I got to sit in on like 2 sessions prior to like coming in, so I could kind of see how it worked and like get invested, because God, I got invested. Got real excited for that shit. And so coming in, I guess I was just kind of expecting to bomb it. Because like I said, I don't do well with improv, but it went a lot better than I anticipated, and that was very nice. Preparation ahead of time is important.
Yeah, man.
And now, like, coming out of it, yeah, I am dedicated, man. I am real excited for the rest of this campaign. I'm gonna be cheering from the sidelines. I'm excited.
Heck yeah.
I'm enjoying the flower right in the middle of.
I know, I was
forehead
about
right
to
now.
Yeah, it's great.
It wasn't working on the brim, and I was like, you know what? You can't see it with the light behind me. I was like, I gotta make it front and center.
Focal point.
Very good.
All right, Maddy, next question is for you. So you obviously weren't expecting Gil to make moves on Val. But how does Val feel about it? Like, does she realize that she's being okay, no.
Not at all. My girl thinks that there like is no she kind of just goes through life kind of just doing whatever. Like she doesn't really think a lot about things. She's kind of just I feel like Val is the living embodiment of zero impulse control, so she kind of just does whatever she wants, whenever she wants, at
Our
all
entire
times.
fucking party.
And like she just really kind of thought Gil was being extremely nice and was like, wow, that's really cool. I'm gonna do the same thing. And so she had no idea that to the outside world it seemed like they were flirting back and forth. She's just like, nah, I'm being nice. Like I'm just being nice back and forth.
Oh, poor Gil.
Gil would have to sit down and explain to Val, like in detail, what was happening, and then she'd be like, oh, okay, I got you.
It's like, Val, I want my body on your body.
Just the living embodiment of now, kiss.
That's fantastic.
I really want to see that conversation at the same time.
Yes. And another, just an announcement to the stream. We will be taking questions from the Twitch chat, so feel free to ask questions. Yeah. So this one is from Nikki.
Oh god.
Yeah. So with the whole light and darkness thing, were you aware of Ren and Nora's names?
Yes.
It's okay. One word answer.
Yeah.
No, but yes, I was. I mean, am I gonna go into this too much? Ooh, well, actually, yeah, I'll go briefly and then I have to go grab a computer charger. But yeah, I really like aspects of good and evil, but I also think that it's not exactly black and white like that. And I know that it's also like a bit confusing because I know with the gods they're like, oh, like you're destined for great things, but like at a certain point, y'all, it's D&D. Of course there's going to be some aspect of your party's important to like a central thing at some point. So it's like, yeah, you guys are level 5, but also on a metagaming perspective, y'all know what's going to happen. So it's like, plus, yeah. So long-winded answer, yeah. And also, there's a lot of darkness in a lot of your backstories. And so I want to highlight that, but I also really want to make sure that the lightness is also there, because without levity, everything's just heavy and sad all the time. And I love you guys, and you're part of the party. And I just want you all, but at the same time, I want you to take your own journey to get there. So, long-winded answer. Yes, I did.
And for those who are confused, Nora's name, like there are a few meanings, but one of the meanings is just light. And then Arendir and Gaelin, the last name in Gaelin is Iron Star, Starlight. So, yeah.
We won't talk about Gilf's name.
Oh boy. It's
Cate,
one step
don't-
away from MILF.
Oh God. Wasn't that the point of it? It wasn't it.
That was literally the point.
Yeah.
Goblin.
Oh my God.
Everyone's like, "Oh, what's a good name for a goblin prostitute?"
Wait.
Gilf.
Are you serious? That was actually...
And it's literally why his name is Gilf. It was like, oh, so we're gonna call him Gilf, because goblin prostitute, but we're gonna spell it fancy. This is what happens when you let your followers create your D&D character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. But Kate, going off of the answer you just gave with you liking for both light and darkness, good and evil, and mixing that, we've seen you take a lot of characters and creatures that are mainly like supposed to be like chaotic evil. Say like Rakshasas are supposed to be evil, but then you sort of took Tony, and he's, as far as we can tell, not evil. And with the whole the text good and evil, it's very muffled. It's not for sure. Do you enjoy breaking from alignment norms?
All right. So, that Drow NPC where you guys started asking questions and he was like, what is life, man? That's very much me. That was me just like, all right, let's get into it. So I, as an actor, a lot of people and a lot of, I'll get into this. Like, in Western society, a lot of our structures are organized in terms of geometric structure, and basically what that means is that we like to put things in categories and boxes. And kind of using my leadership theory and stuff, you can't put people into boxes. Good people do bad things sometimes. Bad people do good things. It's not necessarily about, no one's ever truly evil. And at the same time, even if they are, they still think that they're doing what's best, either for the world or for themselves. And so for me, I don't know, I like to think of it as everyone is motivated intrinsically or extrinsically by something. And so it's not as much of this person is good, this person is evil. It's what motivates them. Kind of thinking about, okay, what would this person be motivated by? Would they be motivated by gold? Why do they want gold? Because gold is power, and they feel as though like maybe something in their life happened where they didn't feel powerful and now they're trying to prove themselves. Maybe they are seeking information, for instance, and are manipulating people and gaining their trust so that they can gain that information. Maybe, and I don't think that, again, I don't think that anyone who's true, there's no such thing as being truly evil. And so I kind of wanted to highlight that. Now, there will be some instances where someone is maybe evil, but I don't know. I also like to catch you guys off guard and make you question the world. I think questioning the world and your place in it is always a good thing.
Beautiful answer.
That was a long-winded of me rambling. But.
All right. Well, we have a question from the chat, from the Twitch chat. Someone, CLKC0812, asked, can you imagine any of your characters getting together romantically?
Within the party?
Yeah. Or just, wait, I guess, I think, yeah, within the party or just with guest people.
He wishes!
Okay. Well, Ren is gay, so within the party, there's really there's just one option. I think nothing is there at the moment, and Jules has questions about the like 90-year, well, not 90-year, 80-year age gap. So I don't know if anything will happen there. In terms of like Ren and Tony, which has been strongly hinted at, I think like Ren's relationship with Tony in Ren's mind is just like he literally flirted with him to get information and a cool ass cloak for Nora. Like, but he still cares about Tony. So like maybe, I don't know. Like the flirting wasn't serious at all. But he does care about Tony, so I don't know. But also he's a tiger, so that's weird. So that's Ren's answer for you.
Yo, just really, really, really likes Val.
Shit gets complicated when you're an elf and you like 100 years old. What does that mean?
How long have you been 17?
Just so long. If only that.
I have some crack shifts with that.
Spill now, Cate.
She gets up and leaves.
Bye.
In terms of Val, I mean, obviously Gilf is there, and Val is just stupid and can't realize that Gilf is there. But yeah, but Val's also bi, so like she could literally just anybody in the group except for Augie, because that's wrong. It's not happening, buddy.
Wow.
No, he's too young.
He's a baby.
Wait, how old is Augie?
He's 17, so legally in the world, he's an adult, but in our society, he's
young.
a babby.
Child.
He's a babby.
I didn't realize. Okay, he did just have a birthday. I should know this. My memory is terrible. I just assumed he was like early 20s, like everyone else.
No, since we found out that Augie was like younger, I picture him as like a 12-year-old boy. Like,
oh, baby.
like that's just how my brain works.
Buff 12-year-old, a really buff 6-grader with a sword.
I wish
Miller,
Twitch could see the face Miller just made, because
Miller, you know what my brother looks like, right? My brother was really buff 12. Yeah, no, he doesn't. But when he was 12, he was a really buff 12-year-old. So like, and could wield a sword probably. So like, that's just where my brain goes.
My brother's 16, almost 17, and I didn't connect that he's basically the same age as Augie. Oh no!
Yeah. My brother is the same age as Augie right now, currently. Like he's 17. So like, wait, how tall is Augie?
Like 6 feet.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I was about to say he's not the same height as my brother. Nope.
Okay, next question is for Maddy. What animal do you want to turn into at some point in the campaign? I
always think that like a bird would be fun, but like I know that's coming. But like if we're gonna really go out there with like animals, there's no opportunity. But I'd love for Val to turn into a dolphin. I don't know why. I think it'd be fun. I want to hear her make the noise and do the little flippy thing. Like, I just think it'd be cute.
We want to hear you make the noise.
I cannot. I tried. I cannot. It doesn't work.
Okay. Next question. TT and Jules. So there was a lot of tension between your characters, obviously. And Jules, what was it like for someone to come into the campaign and just try to completely manipulate the party members against you? And TT, how much fun was it to watch your plan just fall perfectly into place? None of us question it.
Okay. What was it like, basically, to have that happen? It caught me completely the fuck off guard. I did not expect that. I did not expect to be targeted. I
would
definitely
not clickbait.
I think like in the end it made for some really interesting like reveals. It was a big catalyst for a lot of like forward movement in like the relationships of the party and the actual storyline. So in that sense, I think like it was a great move, and I'm really glad that it happened. At the time, I had some rough experiences in high school with that exact dynamic. And so I was like, it was rough, but only like the first session that was going on. And then like once I was like, okay, this is a story. This isn't how TT actually feels about me. It was fine. But yeah, at first it was but I'm glad it happened.
Oh my god. Yeah. It was real fun to come in and fuck shit up. So Cate and I had talked before. So I had, like, the character was created by my followers, and so I was just like, oh, goblin prostitute who plays the bagpipes and, you know, the kazoo and stuff, you know, so it was just, like, completely ridiculous. But then I was talking to Cate, and I was like, hey, Cate, how can I, like, come into this, and, like, do you have any ideas for things that I could do to kind of, like, mess things up, because I want to be the bad guy.
Oh. Cue Billie Eilish.
But yeah, so Cate and I were talking, and we came up with some fun stuff, and then while we were playing, like when I came in and started actually playing, Cate and I were just constantly talking back and forth, just being like, what about this?
Boy.
Well, okay. So I should explain. Based on Gilf has a very high wisdom modifier, and we had set it up that you had noticed when they came in and had kind of been following them around, keeping an eye on them. So you were observing the party for a while, like kind of being able to see like how each of them ticked. And so based on that, we kind of determined what would be the best way to appeal to them and kind of get them to trust you, which sounds bad. But
had a lot of inside information.
It was so good.
Yeah, it also didn't help that like Gilf was just really charismatic, so we all were like, yeah, you seem like a cool guy, like why not? And then like when you started to like fuck shit up, I was like, but he's so nice.
Interesting too is none of you rolled an inside check on Gilf until Gilf started to be like had that watch with Ren, like or until you started being really like hey, that's not. Ren started with an inside check, but then everyone else, no one else incited. So
like I said, he was so smooth, I didn't know what to do.
We're also just a party of dumbasses.
That's true.
Like, and I feel like out of all of them, the most like suspicious of other people. And the rest of us are like,
Ren
yeah, sure.
No
Come
Ren
on.
doesn't even trust himself.
Jules is over in the corner like, no! I think what was really fun was the back and forth that we were doing, where it was getting like genuinely heated, where you're sitting there like anytime Ren would say something and Gilf would like jump in and be like, oh, you think that? Is that because you're sexist? Is that because you're...
Yeah.
and Ren's just sitting there like, shut up!
No.
Poor Ren. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jules. I think my favorite part though was definitely Ren's reaction to Gilf's like reveal of like I'm taking everyone from you, and Ren just immediately wah!
Yeah. Well, Ren thought like you meant kill your family, so I was like, well, shit, that can't happen.
I also love that Gilf's reaction to Ren pointing an arrow at him was just, I got your giraffes back, guys! Wake up! And we were all like, giraffes? And like sat up straight in bed and we're like, they're back!
True. And Ren had to be like, guys, I know you're really excited about the giraffes, but you just fucking threatened your life, and no one listened.
The giraffes were back. What did you
Really
expect?
excited about the giraffes.
All right. Next question is from Anon on Tumblr. It's for anyone who wants to answer. What has been the most scared your character has been so far in the campaign? Like the scariest moment kind of thing. Love you guys so much. And Cate, as a DM, you can say the scariest moment for you as a DM.
The red caps.
The red caps?
Oh, man.
The red caps that almost took out our entire party.
You guys rolled some good things. That was meant to be actually quite a challenging. If you guys just went in and tried to kill them, that would have been a very challenging encounter. You guys got very lucky with a charm person. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh boy. So wait, the like most afraid that your character's been?
Yes.
Okay. For Ren, I guess there are probably two moments. I think the first would be like when he was asleep with that like plant disease thing way back when. Some of the dreams he had was frightening. I ain't saying much more than that because y'all can hear me. But I guess the other one would probably be a lot. Basically, whenever fucking Nora is threatened, he's like, no. Especially when like Gilf was like, I'm gonna take them from you. He was like, oh my god, that's an actual threat. So yeah, basically whenever Nora's life is in danger, he's like, blood pressure rises.
Friendship.
I think the most obvious one for when Val was afraid was our first stream session where I had Maddy had a panic attack because I was so into being Val that I freaked out and literally sent my body into a panic attack.
Oh.
That was a really scary one. And also in terms of like being afraid, that the episode where Val like kind of really started talking about the beast to the party because she was so afraid of the reactions of how they were going to react to her telling her this secret that she's been holding her whole life to everybody, and then just kind of being like, hey, yeah, that was pretty scary. Also the Club Penguin ride, not fun.
Yeah, Red nearly was like actually melted during that ride. Rough. Fire giants. What about Gilf?
Probably. Honestly, probably the when they went to go talk to Kayleen's father. That was terrifying. Like just seconds away. If Jess hadn't rolled that nat 20, man.
Yeah.
Just oh my god. That was terrifying.
As a DM, I think the scariest point was when you all were being so cautious about that door, and well, because we had a guest, and I told her, okay, like, they're just gonna enter this door, like it'll take like 30 minutes, like it'll be super fast, and we can have plenty of time to play with you. And then it just time kept going, and I was like, I hate the metagame but like I have to make them go through this. Because I was like, I'm not just gonna have her be like, all of a sudden she wanders in, like. So I was like, I feel terrible, but I have to do this. And then on the other side, I think it's so fun when I get to do like a little bit of gore and stuff, like with the baby attack, like when describing like how Nora killed her. Like, I don't know. There's just some of those moments that's just I'm not a fan of gore, but like I can appreciate it for like its artistic integrity and what it can add to the story, and it's just it makes it all fun.
I know the question wasn't for me, but probably when Augie almost died twice. Good old times. All right. Next question is for Jules.
Oh.
So last session, a group of soldiers arrived in the city and were carrying burnt books and burnt things in like that cage box. What's going on in Ren's head, and how is this going to affect how he's going to be acting now in the city?
Ren doesn't trust like soldiers in general. I mean, fuck it, Ren doesn't trust anyone, but soldiers in general, especially because there's a lot of like political upheaval happening, or at least there was when he left his home. So he's like, what if they try to take me back, or like, what if they try to kill me if they figure out who I am? So that's like a spook factor separately from the weird box of burnt shit. As for the weird box of burnt shit, I mean, Ren was in a library that burnt down, so he's like, is this that? Is that what this is? And so he's curious for sure. He wants to know like, what if that is what this is? Why? Like, what is so special about them burnt books? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions more than anything, but he is probably going to be extra stealthy, just trying to stay out of sight of soldiers and shit while he's back in Flashy, just because you don't want to be taken back until he wants to go back. Yeah.
All right. Next question is for TT from our Discord server, from the lovely Julia Butterfly. So, question for TT. Are there any situations in game that your character particularly enjoys getting into?
Fucking shit up. I think it was like if we're talking about like particular situations that have happened, or is it more like things that he just in general enjoys? I guess if we're talking about like specific situations, I mean he's a people person, obviously, lots of people, and he does enjoy like engaging and being involved, and he doesn't like being alone. That's like a big thing for him, is he doesn't like being alone, and kind of jumping into the party and kind of insinuating himself in there. Like he, you know, obviously it was with the intent of kind of ruining Ren, but with that, with joining the party, you know, and losing what he had, you know, his job and that living situation that he was in, when they kind of come to terms and they realize, okay, I guess Ren isn't the bad guy. He didn't want to leave because he's like, okay, no, I'm gonna stick with you guys now because I don't have anyone else. And so he likes being around people. He likes interacting with people, and he likes being part of something. And so, yeah, just basically his favorite situation to be in is either drama or just coziness with a lot of people around him.
He would definitely be a drama YouTuber in the modern AU. Okay. All right. So I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot, Cate, but how do you plan for sessions that will inevitably be derailed?
So I just kind of build the world and build the NPCs, and then I pretty much let you explore. So something that this is my first time DMing a campaign, DMing ever, really. And so what I do, and something I need to get better at, is I don't like to railroad if I can help it at all. So I just build a sandbox. So I know what the world looks like. I have the terrain in my head. And then I create NPCs that you guys might run into depending on what area you go to. And then after that, I'll just kind of let things happen. So there are certain things that I will literally railroad with, for instance, the mining game that I came up with in the airport at like 3 a.m. Or things like that. But nothing's fixed. And I think that is one of the cool things about D&D. So yeah, it's a lot of improv. It's a lot of me thinking on my feet. Not everything lands, not everything sticks. Because of that, sometimes there are plot holes that I later try to quickly try to fix. Sometimes there are plot holes that are intentional. And yeah, it's just playing a game. I don't know. I spend about an hour planning for every hour played. So I create a lot of situations and circumstances. A lot of things like have been left unexplored as well. And I have a lot of things happening in the world outside of just what's happening in the party. And so sometimes randomly, like you'll see me like rolling dice or something while you guys are talking and stuff. I'm figuring out how the other stuff is going because I'm also giving their stuff a dice element as well. So some things I've rolled really well on. Some things I've rolled really poorly on. And so it's just, I go back and forth. And if you guys ever come across those, which I hope you do, not everything, but a lot of stuff, if you come across it, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I got a question for you, Cate.
What's up?
When the campaign is done, like when it's completed, will you go back and explain some of the things that they missed, like talk about it? Because I really want to know what's been missed.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sure. A lot of the stuff too, I will recycle it. So some of the bigger stuff that's happening, I will definitely tell you, and I'll be like, oh, and you missed this, which is why this thing happened. And I'll be like, oh my God, that's what that was about. And then other things, I'll be like, oh, I just took this one and repurposed it into this NPC. There's an NPC that you guys haven't come across yet that is my favorite NPC, and I can't talk about him at all. I can't talk about them at all. And I love them so much. And hopefully you guys meet them eventually.
Very excited. All right. So, this is kind of a funny question, but it's also trying to answer it as much as possible without giving as much of your backstory away. What's your character's worst fear? From CLKC0812 on Twitch. The silence.
I guess, like...
I'm trying to think about how to word this without, like, revealing everything.
Pretty much his worst fear. There you go.
Everyone's
There you go.
I'm going to say Valsworth's fear is probably slipping back into old habits.
Good bag.
Yeah, first fear is being alone.
Maybe.
Oh, no. All right. Another Mickey question for Cate. What was Alistair looking for when he was looking at Nora's arm in the scene when she was pretending to be Kayleen, and he looked right through it?
I think I mentioned it. A birthmark. She has a birthmark. And he was looking to see that. It's a special birthmark. If she were to try and prestidigitate it, it'd be basically like a crapshoot of not knowing what exactly it looked like. She'd ended up not prestidigitating anything, just there. So it was just a birthmark. It was kind of like are you really who, like you could be who you say you are, but you could be lying. So let me check. And then if that were true, then he would have moved on to the next round of questioning. Basically, just going, basics like mathematical proof, like go until something proves him wrong, because he knew that it was wrong and he was just looking for something to prove that he was correct. Which is kind of sad, but
Alrighty. Next question. Okay. Maddy, I know you were not here for this part. So I'd like you, so this question is, what were you thinking when you heard Helm for the first time? And Maddy, since you have not heard him, what do you think he sounds like?
I've heard you specifically, Miller, describe me that like how he kind of talks, and like in my head, just from the description that you've given me, I think he sounds like a frat boy that wears his cap like flipped the wrong way, and then has a beer in his hand at all times with a coaster around it.
actually it's a LaCroix, but
Oh, I'm sorry. And he has one of those shirts that's cut like no sleeves, but he cut it himself, so it's just like, and it's just like literally all for show.
You
Like,
killed
kills
Cate.
Cate. What was
I
it
would
like
like
for?
I was gonna say, I'd like to note that this is a person that I've actually seen on campus walk around like this.
We've
So
all seen this person.
Oh
We all
yeah.
know someone like this.
There's like one speech pattern of Helm's that like I swear I've met this guy where he does this thing where he's like just talking and he's like, okay, and he like says the name to like get your attention, and then he says something really dumb or like not that meaningful. He's like, Augie, you got this. It's like, oh my god. You're like the stoner on the football team. I don't know how to describe it. It's beautiful.
for like so Cali Laxbro.
Okay. Yeah,
sounds all right.
very good. Yeah, big fan of him.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 want to hear Helm speak.
All right, next one is from, I don't know how to say it. I think it's Mark on Twitch. It's Mark I don't know how to say his name. But he says, how intense was the Banshee Cave for you guys, and did you all think you were going to die?
It wasn't as intense as the Red Caps.
Are you sure about that? TT, are you sure about that?
Those Red Caps kicked their ass.
They did. They really fucking did. Well, I mean, I think like I'm very in character during fights specifically. I don't know why. So like Ren doesn't have a sense of self-preservation really. He just fucking bolts in. Nora's in danger. He's going in. He goes to 0 hit points. Hopefully Nora doesn't die while he's down. Like he's just like trying to like keep his buddy safe. But as far as like, was he concerned that he was gonna die? No, he never is.
I just really like the yo-yo effect of everyone just and back up.
Yeah, especially Tam. Oh my god, with that like orc thing she has, it's like boom, 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 boom. So good.
It was a pretty low challenge rating. You were gonna be fine.
Gotta prepare them for that big challenge of
thing
saving the world.
One thing, which is the screen that if you fail your saving throw, you drop to 0 hit points. Beyond that, it's pretty harmless. So.
Beyond that thing that could kill you, it's fine.
Yeah. It's like a one-hit wonder. It screams and it's like, oh, you're still alive. Yeah.
All right, next question we have for TT. Where's the kazoo? We were promised a kazoo.
It was in the bag. Didn't see a need for it yet. Well, maybe sometime in the future we'll bring in the kazoo.
Well, that actually goes into another question for Gilf is, can we expect to see more Gilf in the future?
I mean, Gilf is their contact in Valashi, so hopefully if, they need some help or whatever, he'll be around.
All right. Then the next question, Jules, were you expecting to drop that big backstory thing that early in the campaign, or was it just natural?
I feel like Ren has done the most sharing, I think, mostly because like his backstory keeps being something that could affect others. Like, he's in danger. At least he thinks that he's being sought out. So being with others puts them in danger. So he felt like he owed it to them to tell them, especially after he doesn't know who by, but targeted with that illness. He's like, shit, if this keeps happening, the others need to know like why Ren is being targeted. I don't know if that was related to his backstory at all, but it was that sort of thought. As far as the rest, not the rest, but a large chunk of it coming out as a result of like the Gilf-Ren dynamic. I hadn't been expecting to give quite that much quite so early, but I don't mind. Like, it might explain a few of his behaviors and some of his quirks a little bit, and I think that's kind of interesting because I've been doing a lot of little things throughout the campaign that might make a little more sense now. And there's more. Oh, don't doubt it. That's not all. Yeah. I don't mind. I think it was cool. I think it was the right moment. I think that's what matters, really.
Yeah. All right. Now this is for all the players. Is there any character that you guys want to get, like your characters want to get closer with?
Well,
Don't know.
I mean, I think Ren wants to get closer with everyone. I think very secretly that is a wish of his. He will remain standoffish until he dies, but which may be soon. But I think Val is the closest to cracking his shell outside of Nora. I think he's most like confused about Tam. I think he's just not used to someone just so like, I don't know how to describe how he thinks of Tam. He's just confused by Tam. Yeah, like, I don't know. She's like the least like him out of everyone in the party, I think. And so he's like, I don't know how to approach you. But I think he kind of sees a lot of himself in Val, so there's a lot of like bonding happening there. Yeah.
I think Gilf is the kind of person that really wants to be close to people, but doesn't really know how to get close to people, or doesn't feel comfortable getting super close. Like, he has to be around them all the time, but he has a hard time actually connecting. And for some reason, Val is somebody that he instantly connects with. And so, and it might just be because Val just doesn't care. So there's no pressure and there's no like, it's just like, oh yeah, cool.
I think Val is the perfect example of Val is this is a judgment-free zone in a person. Like, that is Val. Like, this is just a judgment-free zone. She's like you could come up to her and be like, I murdered 37 people yesterday. Want to go to hot dog? And she'd be like, cool, sure, let's go. I love hot dogs. Like, she wouldn't care. She'd be like, oh, all right, hot dogs, love them. Like that.
The truest of neutrals.
I think Val likes how easy it is to see similarities between herself and Ren as well, because like they're both dark, edgy boys. They both have sad pasts. Like, it makes sense. But I think she really wants to get to know Nora, because I feel like Nora doesn't really like Val. And Val is trying to be like, hey, like that scene where she braided Val's hair. I was like, we did it.
Single tear.
I was like, we did it. We did it. We finally broke her.
Oh, I will mention though, also Gilf really likes Augie, partially because of their kind of shared experiences, and just kind of really connected to Augie really quickly. And obviously wants to get to know Nora, but it has kind of a conflicting, has a little bit of a hard time with Nora.
Say Mimi wants to be best friends with everyone. She wants to know everything about everyone and just like, yeah.
I love my girl so much.
Okay, then the same Marcelo, that is his name. I'm so sorry for butchering it before. What was the worst idea that paid off in the end?
We have so many bad ideas that it's hard to remember just one.
You said that and about 4 different things popped into my head and I was like, oh god.
I guess the fucking minecart's just like hopping in. Don't know where they're going. We're just gonna find out. That's fine. Red lost like 40 hit points. Still fine. We got there. It paid off because we got there.
I think the one that like came to me first was the whole situation with Fu, where like we kind of went in there like balls to the wall and we're like, here we go, and then we ended up like helping this guy out, and it ended up being like a really nice thing, and we ended up learning a lot of information and getting where we needed to go. It like helped advance the story. Like, did we almost kill a giant quagging? Did we push a wizard out a window? Yeah, we did, but like it worked out in the end.
Did Ren threaten him?
Don't
yes. We don't talk about that.
Don't talk about that.
All right.
I can't say the worst idea that's paid off yet, but it's a good one.
Oh boy.
Oh yay! Ominous.
Oh boy, what does that mean?
If you guys don't talk to me for 2 weeks, I will have done my job correctly. I'm excited.
Oh. Okay. Spooky.
I hate that. I hate that and I love it.
I love that so much, but also please don't.
For the Twitch chat, Cate drops these little lines like every fucking day. She's like, well, I got something planned. Oh, but I can't say. And we're just like, what is it?
I'm desperate to talk about it, but I can't. I'm desperate. I will end up, I accost my little brother with information, and I'm like, and I planned this and this and this. And he's like, and what happens next? And I'm like, and then they did this. And he's like, oh.
It's like fucking Sam Riegel going home and telling his kids what happened in D&D. You know he does that? It's like you and your brother. That's so cute.
I had a 30-minute conversation with one of the bosses of where I work. Their daughter just started playing D&D, and she was telling me all about her campaign, and I like pulled up all the pictures. I was like, this is all the fan art. These are our drafts. I was like, look at them. And like I went in depth, and she thought it was so cool, and I was like, and she had to leave early, and I was like, next time you come, we're talking D&D. Let's go.
So cute. Actually, Beckett, my little brother, I've been telling him about D&D, and he's like, can I make a D&D character? I'm like, yes, you can.
You should live stream that. That'd be so cute.
Please. I'd love to do that.
If he's down. Please.
Yes. All right, and then TT. So if you don't want to answer this one because it's backstory stuff, I understand. It's just, how did Gilf get into the underbrush? And how old is Gilf?
We're gonna skip that because it is still in development.
Cool.
Please tell me Val's old enough to date Gil. So, like, if it does ever happen, please tell me that's not illegal.
We're good.
Okay.
Oh, Cate. Since you love your playlists, do you want to describe the next planned session in a song? This is a Nikki question.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question. Something's coming from West Side Story.
Oh boy.
Oh Lord.
No, just
Christ.
no, because here's the thing. I don't know what's gonna happen. Cause that's not how I plan. So I'm just thinking of the beginning with the could be, who knows? There's something new every day down a block right away soon as it shows. So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Oh,
All of us all the time.
yeah. Question from our buddy Scraticus. Thank you for the raid, by the way. How did you all get into role playing? TT.
Yeah.
I got into cosplay from, I found a community that was doing Attack on Titan, like online GIF role playing, and so I started doing that, and because I was just like, oh, this is really fun. People are getting dressed up, they're acting, they're interacting with each other, and you get to see it, and so that's kind of what got me into like role play. And I stopped doing that after a while, and then I started my Harry Potter blog, and that's what kind of started doing role play in general with the Harry Potter community and stuff. So that's what got me into role play, but I've never done the kind of like improv role play that's required for D&D, and so that was really fun to kind of get involved in a completely different type of role playing, where you're being able to like interact in live time with other people instead of it being like pre-thought out like GIF responses. It's very interactive, which is really fun. That's the first time doing that.
Yeah, I think like probably a lot of us got into roleplay, just like roleplay through like the Tumblr and the roleplay blogs. But I got into role-playing games, like in like a D&D kind of setting, through my dear friend Quinn, who we were making a game together, and he started talking about this thing called Critical Role, and I was like, oh, that sounds like fun! And so I started watching Critical Role, and my friend Quinn is also a really amazing DM, so I started playing D&D with him, and so I had some D&D experience before going into this, and this has been extra fun, just being able to share it with an audience and see other people's thoughts on the story. Yeah.
In terms of D&D, I've known about D&D for a very, very long time. My uncle used to play it in the 80s, and I found one of his old maps like a couple weeks ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Can you show it?
It's like crumbling. So like
Oh, no.
we crawled it back up, and we just like put it back in the corner, and we're like, just stay right there and don't move ever, please. So like I've known about D&D for a while, but in terms of like role playing, I actually started text role playing. Like I'm talking like that old like crappy stuff. I used to have an old Instagram account that I did it with, and then I moved over to Kick, and then I did a lot of acting in high school. And then when high school ended, I was kind of just like, well, there goes that creative outlet. Now what? And I was like, what do I do now? And like I've been on Tumblr for years, and normally it was just memes, and then I stumbled upon a random TT GIF in the middle of nowhere. I was like, it just popped up, and I was like, is this? I was like, this is not. And then I clicked on it, and then like the whole world expanded, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. And so it's kind of been this acting, creative, fueling outlet that I've needed now, because I'm like, I don't get to go on stage anymore. I don't dance. I don't do theater anymore because, frankly, I just don't have time. And this is like, I don't need to have like hours to just spend 30 minutes doing something here. And D&D is like a whole nother monster because I suck at improv. So like this is like the outlet on learning how to do improv. And I actually started playing D&D, I want to say like a couple months before we started this. And I played it at school with a couple of friends. And now I'm in like 3 separate campaigns. And I'm like, this is like the coolest thing, I think. I was like, why? I understand why this has been around since the 80s.
Hey, does it feel like everyone's fucking hate when
About 16, 17 years acting professionally for now. just love performance and when I was in high school, I was in a couple 4E campaigns. We played like a few episodes, but like it was 4th edition and we were all in high school and had no idea what was happening. And then, yeah, and then I played a one-shot or like a small mini campaign in college with some of my acting friends as well. And that was insane. Most of them were drunk or high the entire time. So it led for a very interesting sessions. And then everyone else that I followed started getting into D&D. And I was like, let's do this. And yeah.
All right. We got another question from the Twitch chat from Lemming Squad. What are some personal traits you see that are mirrored in your character? Sorry if this has been asked before, but it's my first Q&A I've seen. They also said, so happy to have caught up with you guys live. Perfect company while I study for my exams.
Aw.
Yeah.
Glad to keep you company, buddy.
Also, just for the people that aren't here to answer this question, what are some traits that you see in other characters that kind of mirror the person who's playing it?
So they're asking like your own personality traits that come through your character?
Yeah.
Or just personality traits in general? Okay, your own personality traits?
Yeah, that you see mirrored in your character.
Cool.
Attention, whore.
Oh, that's actually a really hard question for Ren. Because Ren, like, I don't relate to Ren a lot. I think, like, because Ren has had some, like, shit that I have not been through. Because this is D&D. I guess, like, needing to be alone to, like, recharge. Like, he's very much an introvert. And I'm discovering, I think I'm turning into more of an introvert as I age. I just really need, like, time to, like, recover from humans before I, like, re-enter society. So, like, I feel like that's a big Ren thing, is that, like, sometimes he goes off alone and it's for no reason except that he just, like, needs to, like, you know, have a moment before he comes back. So probably that. I don't know. And, like, sometimes I have trouble making friends. You know, it's hard. So Ren has trouble making friends too. But we're both learning.
With Val, I kind of made Val almost really, really far away from myself as I possibly could, because I kind of wanted the challenge. Because, like, I myself am very extroverted, and I'm very much like, I want to be around people all the time and do all this, and I have a trouble shutting up, and she never talks. So, like, it's really interesting. But I also, the one thing I do see within me and Val is she has trouble, like, opening up and being honest to people sometimes, like, about her own feelings and things like that. And I've noticed I do that a lot. Like, I have a lot of issues doing that. I think that, yeah, that's pretty much. And she also makes a lot of hand gestures. I don't know if you can tell, but I also make a lot of hand gestures.
You can. I don't know if you can tell.
I don't know if you can tell, but, like, this is, like, me all the time.
Cate, did you just do, like, a mini dab?
Oh.
No, that was the. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
There we go.
My little 14-year-old sister likes to pocket dab.
Oh, no.
That's beautiful.
It's evolving.
I'm gonna start doing that at work and see if any of my coworkers notice. I'm just gonna be like, they're gonna be like, "What are you doing?"
Oh dear.
That's fantastic. Cate, well, what about any NPCs that you see mirroring traits of yourself?
I don't know. I think that I'm gonna get super actory here for a second, but, like, every character is just, like, you using your experiences to relate to the world, and, like, it's all about reacting truthfully to imaginary circumstances in a creative and entertaining light. And So yeah, I'm sure, like, yeah, Mimi's very much like for me is very like my anxiety kind of like, oh my gosh, it's okay, and like, I don't know, Quinby and Abington, I get to show off my science knowledge, and I really like Nolly. Nolly is in a couple of ways like kind of a self-insert character, not exactly, but in a lot of ways, and so there's just some stuff about her that I don't know, like, it might come to light, it might not, but I feel her on a human experience and a human level. And y'all don't trust her, which is totally fine, and I definitely don't take personally.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, it's fine. Like, whatever you guys want. But.
I know they're not here to defend themselves, but what about Alice and Jess? How do they relate to their characters? And Tracy,
Nora
you see
is
me.
just Jess.
Yeah. Oh my god, the Nora glare. I feel like is just Jess like letting her impatience show through, like the like that.
Let's open the box with the baby.
Also, that the maternal instinct of Nora was just Jess. Yeah.
I think
Just
Alice
like-
relates to Tam in the sense of like that almost that Bard energy of just constantly breaking out into song is just very much how I see Alice. Of just like, yeah, I'm gonna sing Dancing Queen, and like that's how we're gonna do today. And I'm like, that seems like something
Being
Alice would do. Yeah.
Speaking of Alice, I want to say just really quick, happy birthday, Alice.
It is.
Alice!
Alice!
Ugh,
Yes.
You.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
watching,
if you
but love you.
I love Alice so much.
I like I feel like the meme ball of like meme ball of joy, like ball of joy plus memes is what Tam is, and
Yeah.
that's also what Alice is.
I feel like there's so much depth to Tam that's like under the surface, and you can tell that with Alice as well. Like, there's so much depth and intentionality, and everything she does is for a purpose and provides so much meaning into a person's life, and it's just
I love Alice so much.
Start crying about Alice.
Also, I don't know if you guys saw, but Mickey posted Tam art for Alice's birthday today.
What?
Yeah, it's on.
I was Skyping with Mickey yesterday, being like, let's bring some questions. Like, if you have any, let me know. And we were talking about birthdays, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, Jess and Alice, like, their birthdays are like exactly like a week apart. And then Mickey's like, wait, what day is Alice's birthday? I'm like, June 20th. She's like, so today. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh God. Love you, Mickey, so much.
It's
Yeah, so Mickey,
good.
like, yeah, Mickey, like, was at 2 a.m. It was like, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make it good.
Look at it.
Can you see it?
The best.
Up just a
So
little bit.
good.
Just a little bit.
But
Just
up.
a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah.
So good. Thank you for all the art, Mickey. Holy shit.
Yeah. Mickey said, I thought it was Monday.
No. You did it in time. Good job.
Yeah. The next few questions. Oh, next question from Seriously Chansey. What advice would you give to new D&D players?
Oh.
Pay attention to the rules. And like, because when I first started playing, I was just like super into like the D&D aspect of it, like the fun. And I like kind of forgot there's rules to these things, and like there's certain things you can't do. And like, I didn't pay attention to the rules, and I'm also very stupid when it comes to like how many spell slots you have, and like you run out of money really quickly if you keep spending it. So like, don't do that.
I'm gonna say the exact opposite. Take risks, do it. If there's something that you really want to do, but maybe there's not a mechanic for it, tell your DM, and if they're chill, if they're cool, they'll let you do it. And And I think just make sure that you have that open communication with your DM, because like there's a lot of stuff that's just so cool, and that's just so many players are so creative and they're like, I really want to do this, or I think that this would be really angsty roleplay, and so I want to create a spell for that. And I'm like, I'm so into that. And just take risks, go in, touch that thing, consequences be damned. Like at the end of the day, it's a game, and it's supposed to be fun. So just have fun, and yeah, let the rules come second. Unless you want to play very much akin to the rules, then just have fun.
Yeah, I think I probably would say a similar thing to Cate, is like, as much as like, you watch Critical Role and shit and it's all like very professional, like they play that shit and they make money off of it. Like they're professionals. They're also professional actors. Like if you're just a person who wants to get into D&D and who isn't a professional actor or who isn't doing it for an audience, remember that it is a game and it's meant to just be fun, like fun for you and friends, and it doesn't have to be as intense as it looks from, like watching Critical Role or even watching this. Like it can be really, really fun when it gets intense, for sure. But remember, like I feel like that intimidates some people from starting, and it doesn't have to be intimidating. It can just be like fucking stupid shit. It can be as whatever you want it to be. Like that's the beautiful thing about D&D. You can do anything with it. Like Fantasy High. I don't know if anyone's been watching that, but it's literal like 80s high school assholes D&D version. It's wonderful. Like you can do anything with D&D. So just like remember, it's actually just a game and it's for fun. Yeah.
I think
no pressure.
The thing that came out of our campaign so far, I'm gonna say my favorite moment is when they meant like two of the party members mentioned that they never had milk before, and they spent hours cows. That was my favorite thing, and just do it.
Yeah. Bouncing off of that, in my other campaign, I ended up joining the campaign a little late, and we spent an hour where I was a barmaid in a bar that had a giant ice sculpture that had different parts of a beard that you could drink beer out of, and we spent the entire an hour of me just pouring beer into the beard, and the rest of my party getting plastered, and that was the whole like hour that we spent. Because we didn't need to fight, and we didn't need angsty backstories. We wanted to get drunk. That was the goal.
Solid.
So basically, like professional players who actually stick by the rules versus role players.
Yeah.
Who are there for the experience.
Just do it. And even if you die, dying's fun. Like, it is, because then you get to make a new character. Like, oh my gosh, and so many opportunities can come out of it. You can make a new character that's like super like similar to your other character to cause the rest of the party angst. Like you can do so much stuff. It's so fun.
I like how Cate says, dying's fun, and every single person you can see them like tense.
We're like, ah, shit.
Dying's fun.
No, I mean it's not fun,
Just,
but like it's rewarding is what I'm saying. Like it sucks, but also it's very.
It can be a good thing.
Dying is just moving on to another. It's like moving on to the next thing. It doesn't have to be the end of something. It can be the beginning of something.
Buddhism.
Aww, how sweet. I still don't want to die though. All right, I believe there's more questions. If you guys are ready, we can keep on taking questions. But if you guys are ready to yeet off.
Nah, I'm good.
I might have to take off. If there's one more question for me, then I will stay for that one. But I gotta get going. I have dinner.
Oh, there are two questions left from Mickey, and they are both asking the group.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Two more. All right. First, what animal best represents your character?
Well, I took the Patronus test as Ren, and I think it was some kind of snake. I think it was an adder. That said, I don't know about snake. I think he might be like a nocturnal bird of some kind. Not an owl. I'm not Nora's pet. But yeah, I don't know. There's this one really small angry bird. I forget what it's called, but it's got the word night in it, and I love it. It's like Nighthawk or something. I want that to be Ren's spirit animal. Small and angry. Flies.
I took the test for Val, and I think she got like a polecat was what she got, but like I don't really see her as this like cat.
Well,
No. I mean,
It was wild shape 2K19.
I'm gonna start using that as a hashtag. Honestly,
Wolf.
I think
God, that's hard. Maybe
actually, you know what? I do think she'd be a cat, but she wouldn't be like a polecat. She'd be like oh my god, like I can see them and they have like the little pointy ears.
Lynx?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I like that.
I think she'd be a lynx.
I don't know, maybe a sugar glider or something.
Yeah.
Small
I love that. Gilf the sugar glider.
small and spunky, and flies off the handle a lot.
I'm just gonna jump in and say Augie is a complete dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
on Pottermore, he's given a vole as a Patronus.
Vole. Bullshit.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring that up to J.K. Rowling herself and be like, "You're wrong."
Right, she's been wrong about a lot of things lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There goes our Harry Potter sponsorship. Sorry.
There we go.
Damn it.
Okay, what's up?
Last but not least, our final question is: what stereotypical group role do your characters take in the party? Like the mom friend, the mess, the dad friend, the wine aunt.
The goblin friend.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
I think that's my favorite post on Tumblr.
I guess like Ren is like your stereotypical emo elf, so there you go.
The emo boy.
He has layers, but he's the emo elf.
Yeah.
Covers have layers.
Yes, we
Yes.
I don't know. I guess Val would probably typically be the quiet one. I guess is like if that was like a stereotypical one because she like shouldn't talk. I would like her to be the meme lord, but that's not gonna happen.
That's Tam.
Well, that's Tam.
That's Tam.
I think you said it earlier. The no judgment friend.
Yeah, Val is the judgment-free zone. That's it. Judgment-free zone.
Yeah. When somebody shows up with the body at the house, you're the one who's like, "Where's the shovel?"
Yeah.
What about Augie? Just for fun.
Doggy.
Augie's sunshine boy.
Yeah, he's Sunshine Boy. Yeah, that's basically him. He just is this big ball of just sunshine and energy, and I love him so much.
I love all of you so much. Mickey might think that they're Tavern's #1 fan. That is false. I am Tavern's #1 fan. I'm sorry. I love this party so much. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Can we all get Cate a shirt that says Tavern's #1 fan on it, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna get you a mug. One of those wooden mugs.
A tankard.
World's greatest dad.
You're the dad friend, Cate, 100%. All right.
I'm a little
So
scared of you, but you make the good puns.
You do.
yeah. So is that where we will end our Q&A for today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. So thank you for joining us. Yeah, I'll probably do a rerun of this tomorrow. So if you missed it, you can rewatch it. Yeah. Thank you for joining us and sending questions. Y'all are the best. You guys have to say anything to the people?
Thank you, the people.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Alex.
Happy birthday, Alex.
Yay! We love you. All right, guys. Bye.